Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your connection to the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We are looking at all three sides of the connection. We've got your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle, really looking at what is the purpose of this connection and what is the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. As always, I've gone ahead and pulled the overall energy for the reading and clarified those messages, but in order to actually tap into the energy, I've got a different tarot deck for each side of the connection. I've also got an overall theme that we'll be diving into. This is new. I've just done this in recent readings. And I really like what it adds to reading, so probably going to keep it from this point forward. And then I have the advice deck that I will be using in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. Last thing, please remember that these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do remember to take what does resonate, helps your personal situation, and leave what does not. On that note, these energies can absolutely be swapped. So if you end up resonating more with the energy to my right than to my left, just know that's totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what does not. All right, Aquarius, on your side of this connection, you have the Three of Pentacles in reverse with triggers. So this connection, in your perspective, has either fallen apart or the pieces have not come together. Like things have just not fallen into place the way that you hoped or expected or deserve. And that has been a very triggering process for you. I feel like that in the way that it has happened in this connection has triggered not just, you know, like surface level wounds, but also these kind of like deeper wounds that you might not be fully aware of, because I do feel, and we'll see when we get in the overall theme, that there is a deeper cycle that's being brought up through this connection. Now, this person, they have a miscommunication with the Lovers in reverse. So I feel as if this person does not feel like they are deserving of love. And I also feel that they don't know how to communicate that at all. Now, in order to communicate, because remember, speaking to someone is not the same as communicating to or with them, because communication takes the ability to understand yourself and understand, what you're going through, what you're processing, your emotions, and then being able to verbalize that. It's a difficult experience because it requires you to be vulnerable with yourself, and therefore being able to be vulnerable with others. And so I feel like this person lacks that level of, maybe it's emotional depth or emotional awareness, to be able to understand what it is that they're feeling and communicate that appropriately. And so what I feel like happens is they probably push you away, or instead of communicating, they kind of act passive aggressively, or whatever the case might be. And I feel like that whatever it is that they do and however they act and don't act is what is kind of very triggering for you. But we'll dive more into what they're dealing with when we pull tarot. In between this connection, you have lessons are being taught with the Chariot in reverse. So before things can move forward for both people and, potentially the connection in general, there is some sort of, like I said, lesson that is here in this connection that is tied to some sort of cycle, because the overall theme is the full moon card, and like kind of things coming full circle, like a cycle being completed, because I feel as if there's something going on both sides, like a cycle occurring on both sides that is that is blocking not just this connection, but also blocking each of your other individual connections as well. And so I do feel like there's a lot more going on here than just what you might think or see. So let's start with this person's side. This is for Aquarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. You have triggers with the Three of Pentacles in reverse. This is Aquarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. Aquarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. One more. Aquarius' side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. This is for Aquarius' side of this connection, please. Ace of Wands in reverse. King of Pentacles in reverse. Could be dealing with an earth sign, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. You don't have to be. I just say that because I see the Queen of Pentacles in reverse right here too. Okay. I actually think that these are upright. Yeah, that feels better. Okay, Ace of Wands, King of Pentacles. Yeah, I was holding it back upside down. And then the Seven of Swords here. I feel like you have pretty intense feelings for this person. But I'm also viewing the Seven of Swords in a couple of different ways. I feel like you have very intense feelings for this person, but I feel like they don't really know that. They don't know the extent of it, and maybe you feel like there's a need to hold back or something. Because I also kind of see this as like you're holding back the truth, but I don't necessarily feel like you're being deceptive. Maybe you feel because of like their actions that if you are honest about how you feel, it would push them away. Or you're hiding, like you're not being honest about your needs because you feel like you'll come across as too needy or something. It feels like you have these really intense feelings, but then there's a lack of, I mean, honestly, communication, but coming from a different place. So bear with me here. This is for Aquarius's side of this connection, because I feel like, I mean, you're disappointed with how things are in this connection, but I don't feel like you're saying anything about that. This is Aquarius's side of the connection. One more. This is Aquarius's side of this connection, please. Aquarius's side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. Yeah, okay, so Eight of Pentacles in reverse with the Hermit. It's like you're putting all of this pressure on yourself. Like you have to be perfect or you're doing something wrong. It's almost as if like you're taking on this person's unlovableness or feelings of, not that they are unlovable, but their feelings of unlovableness and like not being deserving of love almost is like a way to, it's like you're trying to love them into loving themselves. And so I feel like you understand why they might be distant or avoidant or whatever the case is, but then at the same time, I feel like that distance and that avoidance is impacting you on a deep level, because I feel like that's why you're not being fully open and honest about how you feel. Is maybe you have this empathy for them, you understand why they are the way they are, so you're like, well, I don't really have to, tell them they are this way, they already know it. Or it's almost like you're afraid to talk about how you feel because of how this person feels, which will I feel like I'll elaborate more on as we go. This is for Aquarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. Aquarius' side of this connection. Because you're holding back something, Aquarius. Aquarius' side of this connection. Aquarius' side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Okay, Queen of Cups in reverse. The Lovers in reverse. So whether or not you realize it, Aquarius, you guys are both mirroring this feeling of like maybe feeling like you're not good enough or not deserving enough of love or not good enough for the other person. It's like, it's interesting because yeah, I feel like there's this mirror of this Lovers in reverse. Obviously we see it on both sides here, but this seems to be not just the root of miscommunication on their side, but on your side as well, because this connection has you very emotional. It's almost like more emotional than it has you more emotional than like other connections tend to affect you. And I feel like because of that, I don't want to say you're playing it safe necessarily, but it feels like, again, like you don't want to come off as too needy, or you're trying to come off as someone who is unbothered, or whatever the case might be. And so what I feel is happening is both people here are interpreting the other person's actions through the lens of their insecurity. And there's no real form of like understanding of what the other person is actually feeling here. Why is this table so messed up? So again, bear with me because there's a lot going on here. You also could be dealing with a water sign. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Don't have to be. I just read them off as I see them. Aquarius is side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. One more. Aquarius is side of this connection, please. Eight of Swords and the Empress in reverse. So here's the biggest limiting belief that you have when it comes to love and how it's affecting you in this connection. Is Aquarius, you feel as if it is necessary for you to sacrifice your needs or your desires in order to have whatever the love is that you feel you desire and ultimately deserve. And so that's why I feel like you're holding back. Maybe you're holding back speaking up about something that bothers you, or you're not being fully honest because you don't want to experience rejection or something here, because you feel it's almost like you feel like you have to hold back or else you'll ruin the connection. But in reality, holding back is what is sabotaging things on your end anyway, because any loss that occurs by you speaking your truth, being honest about how you feel, no matter what that is not a loss, it's alignment. It is anyone or anything that we lose by being honest about how we feel and what's bothering us and what we feel we need and whatever the case is not a loss. Now, of course, it doesn't feel that way when you're experiencing it, but I do feel like there's this part of you that either is or was. Sorry, I have a dog hair on my face. I can't seem to get it off, and it's tickling me. There's a part of you that is afraid of the loss of this connection, either for good or was so afraid of the loss for so long that you held back. And then, in return, never got what it is that you deserved here. I mean, because, yeah, things aren't progressing because there's some sort of a lesson that needs to be learned, which I feel is going to be different for both people. But let's see, Aquarius. This is Aquarius' side of this connection. Aquarius' side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. This is for Wheel of Fortune. Okay. Six of Pentacles in reverse, Knight of Cups in reverse, and then the Wheel of Fortune and Page of Cups. And these are kind of two separate messages, but they tie into each other a little bit here. Page of Cups upright to me is like emotional availability, vulnerability, honesty. That is the way to spin the wheel in your favor. Because the biggest thing here, and your triggers are coming from the fact that you don't feel reciprocated in this connection. I feel like you've given a lot to this connection to the extent where you've possibly overgiven based on what you received. And that has been very triggering for you. Maybe feeling a little bit underappreciated or undervalued, or just like you're not getting what it is that you need and desire out of this connection. But you're not being honest about that. You're not speaking up about that. And you're accepting this energy because you feel like accepting this energy is necessary in order to have what it is that you desire. But yet you're accepting the energy of not having what it is that you desire, thinking that it will be what it is that you desire. So it's interesting because sometimes, I mean, we all have a tendency to do that, where we forget that the universe provides exactly as we affirm. And if we affirm less than what it is that we deserve and desire, we're going to continue to receive more of that energy, whether you're dealing with finances, a career path, or relationships. And so I feel like what's needing to be seen here is that there is a part of you, first and foremost, that needs to recognize that your needs matter. No matter, like, you can think you're being too much, you can think you're asking for too much. Don't allow yourself to go down that rabbit hole, because it's not true. If you feel like you are lacking in a relationship in some way, shape, or form, you have to be honest, not just with the other person, but with yourself about that, and validate that for yourself, because you are deserving of the needs that you feel aren't being met. But sometimes when we don't feel deserving of the needs that we are deserving of having met, what we'll do is we'll sacrifice them, thinking that that's necessary in order to receive whatever it is that we desire. And that's never true. We never have to sacrifice anything of our worth, our needs, anything, in order to have what it is that we think we want. And so the way for the wheel to turn in your favor here is, honesty, emotional, vulnerable honesty. And that's a really, really hard thing to do, because especially because you're dealing with these limiting beliefs. So as soon as you try to be honest with yourself about what it is that you need, you're going to have these thoughts creep in that are like, well, that's asking for too much, or that's not possible, or this person can't provide that, or whatever the case might be. And it's not fair of you to then take whatever it is that you're receiving as good as it can get, because that's never the case. Aquarius' side of the connection. And that's why I feel like the pieces aren't falling into place, is because you're afraid of them not falling into place. Or you're either afraid of things falling apart or things never falling into place, so much so that you're trying to hold back how you actually feel, hoping that that will allow things to fall into place here. But what you're actually doing is you're setting the precedent in this connection to say that this is all I need and this is all I deserve, which is going to continue to give you that kind of, it could be bare minimum, it could just be less than what it is that you deserve, or whatever the case might be. This is Aquarius' side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Learning that our needs matter in relationships is probably one of the hardest lessons that we have to learn. Yeah, so you're chasing this connection. Oftentimes we can think that chasing the connection, which there could be a level of chasing that's coming from, putting pressure on the connection or putting pressure on this person through communication or whatever the case is, but that's not necessarily only what chasing is. Chasing is where we stop aligning with our own values, needs, and desires in order to, out of hope of, receiving something that we think we want. And so I feel like that is why you keep getting so triggered in this connection. If you are sacrificing less than what, if you're sacrificing what it is that you need and desire in this connection for the sake of the connection, that will continue to come back to trigger you, because the universe is trying to tell you, hey, your higher self, your spirit is trying to tell you, hey, this isn't working. This doesn't make you feel good. This doesn't align with your value. Something needs to happen. All right, let's see. This person's side of the connection to Aquarius, please. Miscommunication with the Lovers in reverse. This person's energy toward Aquarius, please. This person's energy toward Aquarius. One more. This person's energy toward Aquarius, please. This person's energy toward Aquarius. Yeah, there's the Lovers in reverse right off the bat. So, this person absolutely does not feel lovable or deserving of love. Now, that might not be how they present themselves. Oftentimes, people who feel insecure will present themselves coming from a place of, almost like, what's the best word for that? Overcompensating in a way. Because the truth here that's coming out is that this person is actually very afraid of whatever feelings this connection brings up in them. Now, again, they're not communicating that, but it's not, I don't necessarily feel like they're not choosing to communicate that. I literally feel like they're not aware of this. This might be someone that's never really been aware of the fact that they feel undeserving and unlovable. And so I feel like that's the hardest thing, right? When you see someone's potential or the potential of something, but they're having their own internal battle, it can often feel as if it has something to do with us, when in reality, it's their internal battle, and we just happen to kind of be getting in the way of it. Now, in the midst of all of that, we're usually dealing with our own internal battle, and their internal battle starts to affect our internal battle, and that's when you start to get kind of those painful cycles in relationships start to come out. All right, this person's side of the connection to Aquarius. This person's side of the connection to Aquarius, please. They don't want to lose this. Four of Cups in reverse with the Five of Pentacles. But again, I don't really feel like that's something they're communicating either. Because either they don't want to lose this, or they feel a sense of loss with this. Clarifying the Four of Cups in reverse with the Five of... But it's like, yeah, okay, yeah. But they're more afraid of what this connection makes them face about themselves than they are of losing the connection. And that has nothing to do with you. That speaks of how much this person is running from their own internal battle. Has nothing to do with whether you are good enough for them, and it has everything to do with the fact that they don't feel good enough for you. Now, they might be projecting those feelings onto you by trying to make you not feel good enough for them, and that's, again, it kind of depends on your personal situation, but that's when you kind of get into like that not so great treatment that can come with kind of emotionally or mentally manipulative or abusive connections. But I'm not necessarily saying that's what this is. In fact, I don't really feel like this person has bad intentions. I feel like they have really poor self-esteem and emotional awareness of that lack of self-esteem. Poor emotional awareness, not they do have emotional awareness. Okay, this person's energy toward Aquarius, please. This person's energy toward Aquarius. And I mean, honestly, I've got empathy for this person. I've been there. But yeah, I mean, there's the Knight of Wands in reverse. It kind of feels like they have sabotaged the Lovers in reverse with the Knight of Wands in reverse. They've sabotaged this connection, or continue to sabotage it, because they don't feel deserving of it. Now, I say all of this in the sense that, yes, it's good to have empathy for other people who are dealing with their own internal battle, right? But that in no way, shape, or form, Aquarius, means that you need to accept that kind of behavior. Having empathy for someone and accepting treatment are two vastly different things. And we have to be aware of our own needs and desires to make sure that we are not putting other people's needs and desires and issues ahead of our own. Because we all have issues. We're all fighting an internal battle in some way, shape, or form. But when we try to get involved in someone else's internal battle and we stop focusing on our own, that's typically when we start to actually create suffering for ourselves. And so this person's dealing with a lot. And I mean, it kind of feels like it's, it probably feels very personal, their actions, movements, and choices in this connection, but it actually is, it's personal for them, not toward you. But it feels personal for you because of whatever, internal battle you're dealing with when it comes to you feeling not lovable as well. And I feel like this person kind of mirrors those feelings that make you feel even more not lovable. This person's energy toward Aquarius. Four of Pentacles in reverse and Ace of Cups in reverse. Okay. This person isn't in a very, stable place in their life. With the Ace of Cups in reverse, they're not being honest about that either. I mean, this is kind of coming off as someone who has a tendency to lie to themselves. So if you do feel like they're dishonest with you in some way, shape, or form, it's probably because they're not being honest with themselves either. And again, it's okay to have empathy for that, but you certainly don't have to accept that into your life. It just kind of feels like instead of dealing with anything, this person's kind of just like, how much can I shove this down and not face this? And I feel like they're doing a pretty good job, but that will eventually come back to bite them. We can't push things down forever. This person's energy toward Aquarius, please. This person's energy toward Aquarius. 6 of Cups. The 9 of Pentacles. Ooh, okay. Hang on. I want more on this. 6 of Cups with the 9 of Pentacles. Six of Cups with the 9 of Pentacles. The Wheel of Fortune. No, it's this one. Okay, yeah. Wheel of Fortune in reverse, 5 of Cups, 2 of Pentacles in reverse. So their past keeps them from having what they want. So I do feel like they want this connection to work, but I feel like they have a past that doesn't allow them to prioritize this connection in the way that is necessary to make it work, because they're kind of stuck in their own karmic cycle when it comes to love and relationships. And that karmic cycle is directly affecting your karmic cycle, which is creating a karmic cycle in between this connection. So they got a lot going on. Way more than I feel like has anything to do with you. I feel like there's a need to make sure that you are being very honest with yourself about how this connection is affecting you on a deeper level, because you want to make sure that you're not settling in your life for love because of where somebody else is at in their life, right? People can only meet us where they are today. And seeing the potential of someone is an incredible quality to have. You know, seeing the best in someone is fantastic. But accepting that into your life and sacrificing what it is that you do need and desire is not fair to you or to them really in the end either, because they're not going to actually learn what they need to if their behavior is constantly being enabled, right? So you've got to be honest with yourself about what you are and have been accepting and whether or not that is okay with you long term. And the way that I always say this is if you are with someone right now and say that they never change, say that the relationship stays exactly as it is right now, is that something you're willing to accept long term? Or are you hoping that someone changes into what it is that you do deserve? Because if you're hoping for someone changing, what you're doing is you're hoping and you're investing in something for the potential which doesn't actually exist. And there's no guarantee that it will exist. And you have to learn to put yourself first in those moments, which is difficult. It's a very difficult thing to do. This person's energy toward Aquarius, please. There's that inner battle. The Devil with the Magician in reverse. So I want more on this Devil, because they have this Devil is clarifying this Devil. It's something that keeps them, this Devil is what keeps sabotaging them. So addiction, mental health, just toxic habits in general. This is what keeps them sabotaging. Yeah, okay. The Devil with the 3 of Pentacles. It's funny. There's the 3 of Pentacles in reverse, which came out on your side, and the Lovers in reverse, which came out on theirs. So this Devil here Well, the devil is a product of the lovers in reverse, which has led to the Three of Pentacles in reverse, to things not coming together. So what you're needing to see here, because with the Magician in reverse, this is someone who doesn't have the tools to be able to have to be who you want them to be, and to have what it is that you're both looking for in this. And it's not to say that they can't ever get the tools in order to have and sustain a healthy relationship. It's saying that that has to be their choice. People change because they realize that they need to. And this person is doing a lot of running from the truth that they need to make certain changes in their own world. And that's directly affecting you and the connection. Now, the problem is that you're really wanting them to gain these tools, but they're really not willing to do what it takes to do that, because they're not being honest with themselves. They're choosing fear. And sure, they don't want to lose this connection, but they're also not willing to do what it takes to make this work in a way that is good for you too. Right? And that's why I keep saying you have to be honest with yourself about what it is you are willing to accept, and whether it's, this bare minimum that you've kind of been receiving. There's a cycle here. I feel like it's a cycle of you accepting bare minimum. But in between this connection, you have lessons are being taught in the Chariot in reverse. I am going to hop on over to the extended. I'm going to pull 9 different messages, and I've got an advice card to pull at the very end. Thank you so much, Aquarius, as always, for your support of my channel. I do hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. Right. Bye, Aquarius.